What do people not take seriously enough? Dental hygiene. I know because I was/am one of those people. Getting into debt. Sunburns. Pet ownership. Don't adopt a dog if you have zero time to spend with it. So many people will bring home a new puppy just to leave it crated all day, every day. When it gets bigger, it ends up staying crated or chained up outside because it has too much energy from getting no exercise or interaction, and doesn't know how to behave around people, and wasn't taught not to destroy everything in its path. I had a former roommate who I lived with for over a year without knowing she had a dog. It stayed locked in her bathroom 24/7. She adopted another puppy from a pet store that she just couldn't resist. When I moved out, I told the dogs would be better off in a shelter and she should get a goldfish or a houseplant. Questioning things you read/hear. I can't tell you how many times people have told me things that they've read on the internet that sound cool, but are just completely wrong, and can be fact checked with a quick Google. Safe driving habits. You don't need to be on that guy's ass and you don't need to swerve in and out of lanes. Follow the laws. Be safe, idiot. Taking care of their backs. There's nothing funny about a fricked up back. Lift with your knees, damn it. Spending time with your kids. It's amazing how many people work so much and neglect their children, then wonder why their kids hate them in the future. The number one thing people probably neglect the most is their health. Heart disease is a bigger killer than most other issues we hear about on the news. Even with education and foresight, it's easy to take your health for granted. Saving for retirement. Didn't see it posted, but antibiotic use. I know you're feeling better, but you have to finish the entire dose. So many people only take them until they feel better and then stop. Worst of all, some parents give them to their kids. Stop once they are getting better and save the rest of the doses for next time/another child. Pretty dangerous game they are playing, as whatever the antibiotic was killing can develop a resistance to it and come back a lot stronger. Budgeting. The fact that the green Skittle is now green apple instead of line number, not my rainbow. Moving in with your so. Hearing. We're hearing protection. If you go to live shows, people. I wear mine all the friggin' time. I have a tiny amount of tinnitus in my left ear. It comes from 3 concerts that happened close to 5 years ago. Look after your ears. Don't listen to music too loud if using earphones. Safe sex. I don't care how much you think your new boyfriend/girlfriend loves you. Wear protection until you can be sure they ain't about to give you a gift that keeps on giving. I dodged a bullet with my ex who ended up with herpes. We had been together 5 years. Then one day she accuses me of cheating. I deny it, since I hadn't fricked around, and ask why she's so adamant that I cheated. She told me. So I ask who she's been fricking recently, and then the waterworks started. That crap could have changed my life. Just because of trusting the wrong person. Also, if you can't afford condoms, you're probably not financially stable enough to support a kid either. Ladders. Those things are far more serious than people realize. I see so many people screwing around on them and not taking them seriously. One bad move and you'll be in the hospital. Global warming. How addictive sugar is and all the ways it negatively affects our bodies. Teenagers. Being around a kid as they grow up, it's pretty easy to write off their emotional outbursts. Once those kids get into their teens, probably even before that, honestly, the things they get upset over, even if they seem inane and silly to adults, can genuinely, deeply matter to them. Usually one would say that time is short, but on the other hand people tend to forget that an average life of 80 years is very long. People expect to be rich, married and have children by the age of 30. What are you going to do for the other 50, which is almost double that? If you marry someone at 20, can you really expect to be with them for 60 more years, which is 3 times longer that you've been alive? Time is vast. Be patient and take your time, but don't waste it. Driving while really tired. Many people don't take it seriously, even though it can be just as dangerous as driving wasted. I learned my lesson when I nodded off for a second at the wheel and my car ended up in a small ditch. Luckily the small highway was empty and nobody was hurt, but it really opened my eyes as to how dangerous it is. Mental health. Lots of campaigns to increase awareness, but it's still not talked about or treated thoroughly. The other side. There are so many echo chambers today you may never have to leave your comfort zone. Spoiler alert, you are not correct 100% of the time and grey areas exist. The weight of what semis are pulling. We do not stop like you do. It takes us a lot longer. Don't cut us off and slow down or stop. To do so is to gamble with all of our lives. Exercising. A lot of my roommates eat healthy, which is great, but then they never work out. They get out of breath just walking normally around because they have no cardio. It's very important to eat right, but it's also important to build the habit of working out for when your metabolism slows and you can no longer just rely on diet. I think the narrative of you can't outrun your diet is a double-edged sword. People interpreting it as they can just sit down all day and eat well and it balances out is wrong. Acknowledging and overcoming trauma. Sounds cheesy, but I know so many people who just straight up refuse to even try therapy when they have gone through events which have greatly impacted their interpersonal skills and livelihood. Take it from someone who learned the hard way. Time does not heal all wounds. Voting. Lack of touch/human contact. It's a huge problem, especially in Western society. Not even talking like incel can't get laid shut. I mean, there are millions of people who go days on end without a face-to-face conversation with someone. And even basic touch like a handshake or hug for weeks. Humans are inherently social creatures. Touch releases relaxing brain chemicals and increases empathy. Lack of touch can cause anxiety and depression, which in turn cause a whole host of physical issues including weakening of the heart and brain. Touch can also help increase social cues awareness. Go get a $10 massage in those chairs at the mall. Hug your parents and siblings. Hell, even just pat your friends on the back every so often. Just be sure to shower regularly and remember no always means no. Sharing your and your children's life on social media. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean you need to participate. Concepts like highlight reels and humble brags are kinda frightening when you take a step back and look at it. Feeding your kids healthy food. Don't get them addicted to sugar. I know kids are brats who want cookies always, but you're the adult. Make them eat broccoli or some freaking strawberries sometimes. My mom dismissed me as picky at a young age and just let me get my own food. And obviously I just got fruit roll-ups and Pop-Tarts. And now I have health issues and a sugar addiction. At least I was never allowed to drink soda. Though, I'd like to clarify that I'm still picky. And you can be picky and still be healthy. I hate shrimp. I will never let a shrimp touch my mouth. In fact, all seafood is pretty cursed for me. Lol. I don't like sandwiches. I prefer eating it all separately. The only BBQ sauce I like is a sugar-free one my mom buys, etc. But there are no necessary nutrients in those things that aren't present in anything else. So keep that in mind. Not all picky eaters are doomed to live horrible unhealthy lives forever. And I don't agree with forcing the pickiness out of your child unless it's dangerous. That people incapable of driving in reality but qualify for a license on paper, such as people too old but keep renewing, should not be driving. Your right to drive does not outweigh everyone else's right to be safe on the road. The time they spend on their phones. Mental health. Relationships. A lot of people treat a relationship like a cell phone. Oh, if it doesn't work out, I'll just get a new one. They are almost setting themselves up for failure and gambling with the emotions of another person until maybe something better comes along. The use of a turn signal or the ability to follow the rules of the road. The diminishing number of bees. Without bees, our plants won't pollinate. Without plants, a lot of people are going to die. Typo. Go to your tap and have some water. Nice. Simple. Clean water, right? Flint, Michigan has not had that since freaking 2014. How have we let that slip? The awesome personal responsibility of riding a motorcycle. There is zero margin for error. People seem to forget the only safety barrier on a motorcycle is your safety gear versus airbags, crumple zones, seatbelts, mass, etc. In a car, wear your freaking safety gear on your motorcycle. At minimum, you should be wearing a full face helmet. decent leather gloves, long pants, and over the ankle footwear every time you get on a bike. The amount of willful ignorance I've encountered is freaking astonishing, especially when it comes to helmets. Common excuses. A helmet only makes sure your head's in one piece if you crash. I like to feel the wind on my face. I can't hear traffic, so actually wearing a helmet is a safety issue. The frickin' nanny state can't make me do crap. And other bull crap. The sport bike crowd I used to see was bad. These dip craps would go out on the interstate and rip their CBRs and R6s past 100 miles per hour in freaking athletic shorts, sneakers and muscle shirts, gloves but no helmet. And it was always guys under 25 years old that went out and bought a brand new 600 Super Sport and promptly went right to the first straightaway they could find to practice wheelers at 80 miles per hour. If anyone's wondering, asphalt basically cheese grates unprotected human skin. Very quickly. The cruiser/Harley people are even worse. Motorcycle safety gear exists to keep you safe. People forget how much of your riding is under 40 miles per hour or under. A full face helmet can be the literal sole difference between life and death in low speed crashes. I knew people that frickin' died because they lost it at 15 or 20 miles per hour. Whacked their naked head on the pavement and it cracked their fricking skull open. I low-sided at roughly 15 miles per hour over 10 years ago and still have a dark, visible scar from the road rash. I know wearing a leather jacket in the heat sucks, but I bet it sucks less than getting burn treatment on both hands and forearms. If you don't believe, ask any cop in this country about the last motorcycle crash they worked. Their diet, needing fiber. Basic personal hygiene. I know far too many people who refuse to shower, brush their teeth, clip their nails, etc. That crap is actually integral to your overall health. I was guilty of this, but I'm the last year or so I have been better about it. Or I at least like to think so. Financial awareness. It's only $4 for a coffee, 6 times a week. Eating out should happen rarely for most people, not often. And yet, it's the opposite. Edit: since this is still getting a bit of attention, I get eating out for social reasons. Once in a while, I get not wanting to be a frugal hermit. That's not what I'm cautioning against. I'm cautioning against those microtransactions that snowball, and used eating out as a ready example. Watch your ones, and they'll turn into tens, is all I'm saying. Idiots using their mobile phones while driving. I was in an accident involving one of these idiots. He swerved into my lane and hit the car in front of me head on, killing the innocent woman driver in front of my car, which caused me to swerve to the side of the road to avoid the crash, which made me crash into a tree. If you drive and use your phone at the same time, frick you. Ninja Edit for clarity. Mental illnesses. All too often I see people using bipolar or OCD or other disorders as ways to describe themselves, when in reality they are just like everyone else with mood swings or organizational skills. Sunburns. Radiation burns. Climate change. I'm honestly surprised that this isn't the top concern for this post. Edit: for clarity, I think I'm going to start referring to this subject as human-caused climate change. Fathers' rights. Being well informed. Drugs. I was so naive when I first started using drugs. Young, dumb and uneducated. It was so much fun getting high with my friends, laughing, having a good time without a care in the world. The only consequences I thought of was getting caught by my parents or being arrested. I found myself hooked on pills in what seemed like the blink of an eye. The law tabs turned into perks, then oxes. Before I knew it, I was shooting heroin and always trying to make moves so I wouldn't get sick. I watched countless people around me pass away, including my best friend in the whole world. I started casually using it around 17 and finally was able to get clean from heroin at 23 in January of 2011. I have had one relapse of 4 months since getting clean, but other than that I have been pretty strong. Fiance/GF of 6 years, whose son I was raising as my own, left me during my relapse. I'm not here to preach, but please educate yourself before using drugs recreationally. It is not bullcrap when they say trying it once can get you hooked. That one bump/line/hit is all it could really take if you have an addictive personality like myself. And trust me, quitting or getting off drugs is one of the hardest things you will have to do. Education. A lot of people I go/have gone to school with just take the easiest classes to get by and don't seem to care what they get out of it. The reason you are in school is to become an informed and well-rounded human being with critical thinking skills and self-knowledge, not to get a piece of paper. The piece of paper is just fancy proof that you jumped through all the hoops necessary to get it and then sat through a very long ceremony. Whether or not you get something out of your classes is mostly up to you. Take classes you like as much as you can. Get to know your professors. Go to tutoring. Do your homework. Talk to your friends about that cool thing you learned today. Make time for fun and other life stuff too, obviously. But this is the one time where your entire purpose in life is to learn stuff. You get to learn whatever you want and then have a future where you can do that stuff every day. You miss out on so much if you take the easy way and do the bare minimum. I'm planning to be in academia for a while, but no matter if you're at Harvard or trade school or not even planning to go to college, learning, thinking, and growing are for everybody. You are either being given a gift or working very hard to buy yourself that gift. Don't let it go to waste. Their overall health. By this, I mean having a healthy diet, regular exercise regime, and last but certainly not least, visit the doctor. Garage door springs. Those things will frick you up. Identity theft. It's not a joke. Millions of people suffer every year. Vaccines. There's already small populations of people exhibiting the disease in America and France. The disease is eradicated in first world countries, but still exists elsewhere. Idiots shouldn't be allowed to spread ideas if they're harmful. Sure, free speech, but telling people vaccines have mal effects is stupid. Also, animal testing. We need it. Otherwise we would have to start on humans. Groups that advocate for the ban of it are ruled by emotion whilst lacking objective fact. Laboratory testing has led cures/advances for cancers, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, stroke, and countless others. Smoking next to gas pumps. I can't stress this enough. It is incredibly dangerous. You are literally a time bomb. One little spark flies at the right time and boom. Usually people at least smoke a few meters away, which is still dangerous and stupid, but I guess it better than what I'm about to tell you. Yesterday as I was filling my dad's car up, this idiot with a cigarette in his freaking mouth gets out his car and fills the car. In Turkey we don't have self-filling pumps, but instead have employees at the stations who do it for you. The guy who works the pumps didn't even ask him to put the cig out. Meanwhile I'm sitting in my dad's car while having diesel flowing in it with my little sister sitting in the backseat as this idiot couldn't let go of his precious cig. Look asshole, you don't seem to care much about safety. You also wouldn't mind getting blown into a million pieces, but I freaking do. You can smoke all you want. Just don't do it indoors and next to stuff that blow up. Sleeping and the health of their relationships. Crimes perpetrated by politicians, especially if the politician in question is of one's preferred party. Their teachers in high school. I was one of those kids who slept through all the classes, but was helped when a teacher started really trying to motivate me. Good teachers can be mentors and you'd be surprised how much they can care about you. Also, I wish they could be given better pay. Privacy on the internet. I have seen so many people share their personal pictures on Instagram, Facebook and don't take the necessary steps to prevent them from being accessed by strangers. Some people even purposefully keep their accounts public for the likes. I don't get it. You are putting out who you are, what you're doing, adding location tags, and letting everyone know where you are/have been, all for a virtual number, likes, just to satisfy the ego. Another thing, using your birth date in publicly visible information such as your username, or putting it in your Instagram bio to let people know when your birthday is. I cannot stress this enough. How easily can one access things like your credit card and other sensitive personal information just by knowing your date of birth. On a side note, please don't use your birth date as passwords. Just don't. Racism against white people. It's become acceptable, not bigotry, to be bigoted against white people. US university racial quotas, legitimized by Obama, is an example. You don't fix discrimination by discriminating. The ever-going joke of being depressed with lack of interest in anything, refusal to get help, The Olympic sport of depression that gets passed off as a meme. Talk to someone. Doesn't have to do about how you feel right now, but it's going to help you in the end to at least talk to someone about how you have felt. Make sure to like and subscribe so we can watch together.